posted April 1, 2018, 18 hours, 21 minutes and 2 seconds. Hot cross buns were part of communion at the Wayside Chapel's Easter service, where 200 people gathered to mark the resurrection of Christ. Graham Long, the outgoing pastor and chief executive of the King's Cross Church, said there was a happy atmosphere among those who attended the service, followed by a hot roast for lunch. I think there's a sense in which people kind of catch the spirit of Easter, which is about there's no hole so deep and dark that God isn't already at the bottom of it ready to lead you out, so there's a sense of kind of humor and joy about it, Reverend Long said. He shared the service with Pastor John Owen, who will officially take over as CEO of Wayside in July. Pastor Owen told the congregation that not much would change when that happened. I'm going to incorporate a lot more sporting analogies into my sermons because, how apt, this week we've had a huge religious crisis in this country, have we not, he said, referring to Australian cricket's ball tampering scandal. Also incorporated into his sermons were plenty of jokes. What do you get if you spill hot chocolate down a rabbit hole? Hot cross bunnies, and what do you get when you cross sandpaper with a cricket ball? You get a religious crisis. Egg hunts and sausage sizzles help a community to heal. Easter Sunday was celebrated across Sydney in a multitude of ways. Children scavenged for sugary treats during an Easter egg hunt in Sydney's Royal Botanic Gardens, while in Tathra, which was devastated by bushfires last month, locals and tourists gathered at a beachside park for games, a sausage sizzle, face painting and more egg hunting. Local children were given chocolates, toys and pajamas which had been donated as Easter gifts. Money raised during the event will go towards rebuilding the far south coast town. At the Sydney Royal Easter Show in Homebush, families marked the day by getting up close to the animals, scoping out the rides and scouring the showbag pavilion for goodie bag favourites. Daniel said he and his children were getting into the spirit of the farm, of agriculture, and having fun on the rides. This year the only day we could make it to the Easter show was Easter Sunday, he said. Some people would go to church and that is fine, but today we are at the Easter show. His daughter Noelia said she particularly enjoyed seeing the farm animals and taking photos with them. Dominique Goulart, who held a giant tub of fairy floss, said she had loved to see the huge cows and pigs. We want to have fun and we want to watch and go on a roller coaster and see some animals and eat some food and relax, she said. Her father, Peter Goulart, said it had been a couple of years since his family had come to the Easter show. We thought we'd come out for a beautiful day out today to go see some animals and at least some of the shows and hopefully get some show bags, he said. Messages to the faithful across Sydney at St Mary's Cathedral. Catholic Archbishop of Sydney Anthony Fisher told the congregation not to take the freedom to hold and practice our beliefs for granted. Even here in Australia, powerful interests now seek to marginalise religious leaders and beliefs, especially Christian ones, and exclude them from public life. They would end funding to faith-based schools, hospitals and welfare agencies, strip us of charitable status and protections, cast us as public enemy number one. We may not always be as free as we are now to evangelize and baptize as Jesus mandated at the first Easter. He said the sacrament of confession, another beautiful Easter gift, was under threat, following a recommendation by the Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse that priests be forced to report information confided to them during confession. Priests will suffer punishment, even martyrdom, rather than break the seal of confession. The confession is a privileged encounter between penitent and God, he told worshippers. At Sydney's St Andrew's Cathedral, Anglican Archbishop of Sydney, Glenn Davies, referred to the death of Stephen Hawking, an outspoken atheist. Hawking could not conceive of how God could exist, which is extraordinary as he conceived of so many other things that no one else thought could exist. He said, he had a remarkable mind, given by God, but he could not perceive that the God who'd given him that mind was the God of all the universe. He also referred to the cricket scandal, telling the congregation that as humans, we all make mistakes and seek forgiveness. We've had our own failures, perhaps not quite as public as Steve Smith and the other two, but failures nonetheless. If it's hard enough to confront and stand up to a press gallery and admit you're wrong, what would it be like to stand before the living God and admit you're wrong? Topics: religion and beliefs, Christianity, community and society. Sydney 2000.